What's up, everybody? Welcome back. FPL Fantasy coming into your ear and eye holes. Game week 22. It's a little bit of a double game week that we got here. We had, what, like almost 2 weeks off? It was almost a full international break without any international games. A little bit wild. And it feels like I've been going crazy here, trying to figure out what I'm doing in the future, and I feel like I'm probably going to repeat myself over and over again. And I think my Americans, my Australians, and my Canadians will know what I mean about that today. Everybody else, that joke wasn't for you. So, before I slide it over to my man Doc, we have some talking points we're going to talk about today. First off, triple captain. Secondly, navigating the fixtures, and third, kind of ones to watch and people to pick out during the fixture run, during now, whenever you want. But every time I shout somebody out, they always do well, so just pick up the people I'm not picking up. That's basically what I'm telling you to do. But before we get into that, Doc, what's up, my man?
Joe, we need to go back to what you just mentioned. What is this joke about? Because I don't get it as well.
All right, it's Groundhog Day, and there was
Right.
the whole idea is, there's a groundhog in Pennsylvania that tells the weather, basically, lets you know if spring is coming or if it is going to be another 6 weeks, depending on if it sees its shadow. Well, there was a movie based off of it where the guy relives his life over and over and over again. And it's called Groundhog Day. So that's the whole thing.
Right. That was a bit anticlimactic, but
I
alright, fair enough.
told you. Anything you want to say before we jump into it?
Well, I'm glad we are back to FPL. I'm sorry I'm not on Twitter. I explained it a few videos ago. I just lost access to my account, probably the H word. I'm gonna start a new account very soon. I keep saying I'll do it next weekend. It just doesn't happen. Keep getting busy, and weekends the days you should rest instead of working on a new Twitter account. So I hope I'm back this weekend. So yeah,
Sounds
stay tuned.
good. The new Doc Twitter coming to you this weekend? Question mark? Maybe.
Yes.
So, all right, triple captain. The big question, the easy question, just captaincy in general. I don't know, Doc. Where are you at? I know you used your triple captainship. Regret it? Don't. Who are you captaining?
Yeah, I regret it. It was unsuccessful triple captain, but it's not a big deal. Triple captain, people argue that it's let's say the least influential chip that you can have. It's the most exciting, but it's the least influential in terms, in the grand scheme of things, in the big picture. It's the least influential because whoever you're triple captaining, most people will probably be captaining and kind of balances itself out to a certain extent. So, yeah, it was a failure, but if I had the triple captain, I would triple captain Rashford this game week. I wouldn't save it any longer. We have a clearer image of what's going to happen in the future when it comes to double game weeks, blank game weeks, and everything. We're going to talk about this in the chip strategy soon in the third segment, I believe, or the second segment of this video. So, yeah, I would triple captain Rashford.
Most people say that the triple captainship is the least effective. For me, it is the bench boost. It doesn't matter if I play it in a double game week. It doesn't matter if I play it in game week 1 like this year. I'm getting 6 points. So it's like triple captaining a single game week player for me. Whatever. The chips all suck. That's what I'm convinced on. But talking about kind of like the Haaland captain craze that went on, what, 2 game weeks ago. This is kind of what I was getting into. Is Haaland looked like a good captain, but for me, didn't feel like he was on. His fixtures were okay, and now we have Rashford coming in, still flaming hot, still probably bare minimum I would expect an assist a game. He's coming up against some of the two worst defenses that we have in the league right now. We'll see if they get better in the next game week, but probably not. And it just feels right. And I know a lot of people really have that kind of conflict of, well, if I'm captaining and I'm triple captaining, I need to throw it on like Holland, Kane, Salah when he knew how to play still, KDB when he knew how to play still. Somebody like that. This is the glory of the game. This is the glory of the game. Throwing a triple captain on. Is he still under 7 million? Is he over 7 million? Just like a cheap player in general, right? This is the perfect time to do it. I'm probably going to pop the chip. I think there's also a little bit of a argument in there maybe for Bruno, but I don't know. With Eriksen out, he kind of pulls away from Bruno's overall potential. Eriksen kind of eased it up for him in the middle there. I think Rashford still is just as good as before Eriksen got hurt. So he's probably number one in my thoughts, but Bruno is a very close second.
Bruno's not a bad shot. I think it's the opposite. As a United fan, right? I think Fred and Casemiro would play better for Bruno from an FPL perspective because Bruno has to do less defensive duties because Fred will do better defensive duties than Ericsson in general, right? He's a more of a defensive player than Ericsson. So it's a big loss for us. I'm very sad that we lost Ericsson. I don't know when Sabitzer will start playing for us. Um, but if it's Fred and Casemiro, I think it enhances Bruno's chances for FPL points. So if you do not have Bruno, I would bring him in. I would still captain Rashford regardless. Rashford has probably those free kicks and his goal threat is higher than Bruno. When it comes to XGI, they are very close, but yeah, the goal threat sways it for me. So I would triple captain Rashford. I'm definitely captaining Rashford.
I think that's a fair argument too, for in favor of Bruno. So speaking about wasting your chips, navigating the fixtures, Doc. What do you got over there? I know you have a little laundry list, honey to-do list of what to do over the next 20 game weeks. What's going on?
I I went old fashioned on it, right? So I prefer writing on a piece of paper and a pen. So I looked at the double game weeks. Ben Krillin, if you don't follow him yet, I don't know what you're doing on this channel. Follow Ben Krillin. That's it. Follow Ben Krillin, right? So we have a double game week this game week, and then we have a double game week 23. So I reached this conclusion after doing some research. You need to decide your chip strategy, especially the free hit. Are you going to use it in game week 28, I believe? Yeah, game week 28 because it's a big blank game week. I think there are 4 fixtures, maximum 5 fixtures are possibly going ahead. So you need to decide whether you're going to use it at that time or not. I believe that your main target should be that you have 3 Arsenal, 3 Manchester United, and 3 Man City by game week 23. And you're going to see from my team selection that that's the plan that I have, which is this game week and next game week. So if you don't have 3 Arsenal, get 3 Arsenal. If you don't have 3 Man United, get 3 Man United. If you don't have 3 Man City, get 3 Man Cities. When you have those 9s, kind of you can navigate easier, kind of the double game weeks and the black game weeks up to game week 29. Kind of this is where I looked at because game week 28 is the big blank game week, and then game week 29 is one of the biggest double game weeks we're going to have. So a chip will be played there. So this is how I look at it. So yeah, double game week, I would have Rashford and Bruno in my team and a third Man United player this game week, possibly maybe get a Leeds player. In game week 23, I want to make sure that I have 3 Arsenal and 3 Man City. And then we take it from there.
Yeah. I see. This is where you and me are two completely different managers. Two completely different managers. Okay. Double game week. This game week. Sure. I love having triple Man United. Obviously triple Arsenal. I think triple Arsenal carrying it all the way through till 29 at least is great. And you can use your bench to kind of facilitate holding on to those, or maybe transfer one out and then bring another in, different defender, whatever, bank some money, whatever it has to be. But I think holding on to 3 Arsenal, yeah, that makes sense. What I'm probably going to do is I want to see if my good old boy McKinney plays for Leeds, and see that matchup with McKinney and Tyler Adams, and then decide based on this game week if I'm going to keep 3 Man United in 23, or if I'm going to drop down to 2, free up a little bit of space, and carry 2 Man United all the way foreseeable future. It feels like right now. Because 24, Man United have Leicester, which is Madison is back. Madison clearly changes the team. He was on for what, like 15 minutes in the last game, and like completely different team just because one player came back from a knee injury that he keeps getting over and over and over again. Would worry me to have a defender. I'll probably jump off of Shaw in, like I said, 23 or 24. I think 28, like you mentioned, that might be a great time to play a chip there. Maybe avoid all the blanks.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you here. And you're gonna see from my team reveal, I'm trying to avoid playing a chip in 28.
Yeah,
Many people will play it in 28, especially the free hit, but there is an argument to be made to avoid playing it at that time.
for sure. And that's where I'm going with this. You could possibly play a chip in 28. You could navigate the fixtures past 29 even if you wanted. Wild card in 29. I, I think there's some form of that probably most people are going to play with. I think a lot of people are putting a lot of stock in blank 25, and you can kind of navigate that pretty well. Now, I understand that there's really good teams, and probably everybody has almost 5 or 6 players from Man United, Brighton, Newcastle, and Brentford, which I might be the only one that has a Brentford player, but we have basically 3 transfers that we're going to get up until 25. You can move out at least 3 players for no hits and set yourself up for the next set of upcoming fixtures. And technically, you can handle 6 players because then you have 3 more players that you can put on your bench. And some people might have a goalkeeper from that team, so you don't even have to worry about that. It's almost 7 players that you can navigate over a 3 week period there. That's probably the route that I'm going, rather than freaking out and taking a negative 12 and being like, oh my god, I have to wildcard my team now because I took a negative 12, or I have to free hit in 25. No, that's too irrational. I get it, they're great teams, but just plan just a little bit. Find those 3 or 4 players that you want to keep in your team. If you have a goalkeeper, it'll be 4, and just bench them, navigate, and move on, because a lot of the teams that aren't playing in 25 are still good in 26. So don't rip apart your team just to avoid 25. Plan out to 28. Try and get an idea of those transfers that you want. Injuries, they're going to make a difference. Be prepared to possibly move a transfer here or there to accommodate an injury. That's where my mind's going. There's no reason to freak out early. It's fine. We have time. We can make this work. You can build a sick team. Don't worry about it. Let's go, McKinney.
I would say worry about it actually. I'm going to be the joy killer here because this is where kind of it differentiates, let's say, the casuals, people who just look at the fixtures next game week or the week after and they make their transfers, and people who are watching this video. So it's our opportunity kind of to jump up the ranks versus the people who do not do this research, so do not, because they can come game week 25 or 28, they have like 2 players and oh my god, I have to free hit, and this is kind of when you lose chips. So this is the opportunity, and this is where the engaged managers, let's say, pass the casuals. So I would do some research, I would spend some time now, and kind of it will save you up to game week like 34. You can do some research, and it's very easy. There is this nice graph that Ben Crellin put, and it shows you all the blanks and double game weeks. That's what I use to build kind of my plan.
It's fine. Everything will be okay. You can freak out if you play like Doc. You can chill out if you play like me. And if you're a casual, you're not watching this, so this information isn't for you.
Absolutely. I'm not freaking out, but I'm saying it's time to do a bit of research and decide your plan, what you want to do up, let's say, to game week 29.
So, trying to figure out what you want to do up until game week 29. Trying to figure out what the heck you want to do the next couple game weeks. Doc, tell me, who should I bring in?
Well, I mentioned it kind of earlier in the previous segment. Number one, if you don't have 3 Arsenal, I would get 3 Arsenal. Now you would ask, who are your favorite? Anybody. So I would think probably in Ketia, Martinelli, the value is still there. So I would say Martinelli slash Saka, but probably Odegaard is ahead of them in the pecking order currently. So I would say Nketiah, Odegaard, and then if you want a defender, Gabriel, probably because of the goal threat and the guaranteed minutes, let's say. So I would say those three from Arsenal. And from Man United, I was looking, you're going to see my team in the next segment. I was looking at maybe bringing two defenders and Rashford instead of Rashford, Bruno, and a defender. And I kind of didn't like the look of it. Like, we don't know who's going to play in the back line. Is it Wan-Bissaka? There is no upside. Varane, Lucho. We just don't know, right? So we know they're going to play, but there is not much upside. Watch Varane score a bullet header this game week. My thinking is Bruno, Rashford, and Shaw probably from Manchester United, and then Man City. You would really need to worry about them next game week, not this game week. But the favorites are KDB, Haaland, and probably not the one that I have in my team, Cancelo, because he plays in the Bundesliga now. Probably Ake as a defender. So I like Ake the most. Yes, he might miss here and there, but this is Pep, and if you want the upside, you have to sacrifice some minutes. So I would say those nine should be nailed in my team by game week 23.
Yeah, so I am going to give you the laundry list of things of players to watch. Here's my hot tips players right now. So everybody get these players in because I'm probably only going to get in two, and everybody else will frickin' tear up FPL. First off, my boys Spurs, right? They got in once again American pronunciation. Don't rake me over the coals, but Poro, right? He's going to be your attacker on the right side, probably. They shipped Doherty. There's Emerson Royale. What is he going to do? He's going to warm the bench for us. Thank you for being willing to be the Gatorade boy, Powerade boy, Water boy. I'm sorry. He's got such a good attacking threat when you look into kind of his history and kind of how he plays. He's going to be sending a lot more balls and quality balls across in the box. Kane loves a good header, and if not, we have people that are probably going to be on the back post that can knock something in, poke it in eventually. I think this is a younger Perisic. He's going to do quality. So somebody to look into. I'm not saying bring him in this week. I think next week is a possibility if you wanted to get an early jump on it and he plays and looks good against City. Somebody to think about. Now, my man Sambi from Arsenal who transferred to Palace. If he starts, he's one to look into. He crushed it in the preseason. And I know I say give a little credit to preseason, not a lot. But if you look at Arsenal's team, everybody who killed it in preseason is killing it right now. There's, what is it? Balogun is playing in France. And right now, he is the top scorer in the French league. Better than Mbappe right now. Better. More goals. 14 compared to 13. And yes, that has to do with the quality of the team around him. But he wasn't good enough to play at Arsenal. They shipped him out. And now he's crushing it in the league that he's in. You have Nketiah. Everybody was like, yeah, I don't know. Jesus got injured. Let's see what happens. Dude's crushing it. Everybody has him in their team now, right? So, Sambi, he's a guy that's going to get opportunities. Hopefully, Crystal Palace can actually play into him, make something happen. But definitely one to keep your eye on. Could be a good differential. If you're looking at the Man City defense, like you said, Doc, not Cancelo because he's playing in some other world right now. But I think Akanji, Ake, and maybe Lewis if you want a cheap will he, won't he. Those are probably three that you can look at. Akanji and Ake obviously have been consistent starters. Lewis, he'll probably be back in. He hasn't done anything to really get pulled. And I think he's still 3-9. Maybe he's 4 now. So those three are pick and choose. I am going to be the Maverick here and say Mitoma is still a good shout out. Mitoma is still a good shout out. Even though that he has a blank in 25, he's still a quality player. If you can use him as one of your bench spots, he's going to be worth it. Even if you bring him in for 3 game weeks and then ship him out in 25, he probably, the way that he's playing right now, he's going to make up more than that -4 or even that free transfer. Get you points there. Casemiro, if you want something different for a third United, not recommended, but he's been much more attacking and really, dude's good to go. You can bring him in. And Ketia, I already said, everybody owns him. Don't worry about it. If you can make him come in, great, do it. I think it's stupid to do it for Kane, but, everybody plays different dumb ways, right? Then Mahrez, possibly a third Man City there. He's been consistently ticking along, assists, goal, whatever. Points are points, and he's consistently getting points. Yeah, he's not getting double-digit hauls every single week, but points are points. That is one spot where it feels like right now you can go, he will get 1 return. Look into him. Stop thinking that he's a trash player right now. He's quality. He's playing well. Saka, there's maybe your third Arsenal. I prefer, like you said, Odegaard up top. I would probably go Nketiah to spread it across the positions. And then defensively, I have Saliba right now. Kind of went Zinchenko, but Zinchenko was dead or whatever when I went to get an Arsenal defender. So that would probably be the route that I would think about going. And finally, I mentioned them a little bit. Everybody's going to laugh at me like in the beginning of the season. Madison. Madison's back in the lineup. Madison changes it. Madison is the attack. Madison. I rest my case. Doc, I'll see you next week.
I'm gonna give you a chance for I told you so. And you keep saying people laughed at me and like I proved them wrong. So I hope you prove me wrong on this one. But I wouldn't get Sambi in because like the moment you mentioned his name and I was like, really? Sambi? So because we don't talk about what you were going to talk about in the episode before. So you keep shocking me. So I was like, does he score much? And he played 94 games in his career and scored 3 goals. No, thank you. Not for me. There is a hat trick coming, so you can told me I told you so. But for now, I wouldn't get him in. The rest, fine. You can get them in, but I wouldn't get Sambi in. Not from an FPL point of view, at least.
Yeah, Sambi rests on, is he going to start for Crystal Palace, and does Crystal Palace magically know how to feed balls to an attacker? There's
Right.
2 big question marks there. And yeah, I wouldn't get him in this week, but if he does start and he's looking good, think about it in the next week or 2. Could be worth it. Do you want to get into our teams, Doc?
Let's do this.
All right, Doc. I have your team up on the screen right now. Well, I have your teams up on the screen right now. Explain what you're thinking here. Just so you know, because I know you can't see, the one with Almiron is on the left. The other one is on the right, so you can reference them if you want.
Well, I will not reference on them because those are the 2 routes that I want to take. So, number one, take out Kane, take out Almiron, and bring Bruno for Almiron, and bring on Nyonto. I believe this is how you say his name for Harry Kane. So, this is one of the routes. I have 2 free transfers, point 0.3 in the bank, so it will be for free. This way, I'm gonna have KDB, Bruno, Haaland. Then I leave myself with a Cancelo problem. So the second option that I have in my mind is remove Cancelo from now, bring Ake, and downgrade. Well, you can call it downgrade, but for a cheaper player, remove KDB, bring Bruno, and then reverse the transfer next game week. So that's my second option. So I'm gonna have double game because Bruno's blanking in 25, right? So I'm gonna get rid of him anyways. I might as well bring back a double game weaker. Both have their merits and their disadvantages. Let's say both strategies. I went up to game week 29 on FPL.team, which is the website I'm using to build those teams, by the way, if you're wondering. So FPL.team. And both have their advantages and disadvantages, but both are booking a transfer in game week 23, whether I take out Cancelo for Ake next game week or I take out Bruno for KDB next game week. Otherwise, it's what I prefer, how I feel closer to the deadline. But probably those are going to be my two transfers.
Yeah, I like the one with Kane in it. I like the one with Kane in it.
Right.
Even though I shipped out Almiron, I think a lot of people are using Kane to kind of fund other things, and I don't know if I have as much confidence in KDB getting points as I do in Kane getting points, because he's been crushing it. So go left, go left, go left.
Well, structurally, it's better to get rid of Kane because it's going to give me the flexibility in midfield. Kane doesn't give you much flexibility because he's the only attacker in that price point after Haaland, let's say. But if I go heavy midfield, I can jump to Salah if they double game week in 25, which is a potential, by the way. Basically, I can do literally Bruno to Salah easy or KDB to Salah easy if they double game week in game week 25. I'm leaning Kane stays in my team, like you said, go left, but let's see how I feel closer to the deadline with more tinkering, with more team news that are starting today up to tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, kind of I want to get rid of the Cancelo problem first. That's why this is what's swaying me towards keeping Kane and doing the switch twice between KDB and Bruno. But let's see how it goes. Yeah.
All right, Doc. So now I got my team up on the screen here. Henderson, my man, he's still injured. I don't know if I can hang on to him forever. I mean, they just got in the new goalkeeper from PSG. I feel like he's probably going to end up starting while Henderson's out, and then maybe he takes the spot from him if he has good reliability. I love Henderson, but he's my PK stopper. He's a little bit of a shot stopper. Patterson's probably on his way out too. My transfer this week, I brought in good old Bruno for Almiron. Seemed like a play. Almiron, he's just kind of been off form now. He's been slowly ticking down. I don't think I can hang on to him too much longer. Bruno, double game week, United looking good. Bruno's getting points. Bench, besides Henderson and Patterson, I have March on the bench and Walker. So we know Man City's defense. Walker's not going to play. March, that was the tough one for me. He's got Bournemouth, so there's opportunity for points there, but I can't point to my team and go, that guy's not going to get me points, because he can't play goalkeeper, so he can't go in for Ward. That would be nice. I don't know. What do you think, Doc?
Looking at the team, so you've already done the transfer Bruno, Almiron to Bruno, right?
Yep.
Are you planning any other transfers, like beside Patterson, possibly up to someone?
I'm actually not going to do anything right now because
Okay.
of the situation that I'm in, where I look at the team and I go, I don't feel like there's a lot of people I can bring in that I'm going to be more confident in scoring points right now.
Wow. You have a huge benching headache. Yeah, I can see. Um, Probably, and I'm gonna hate saying this, but probably I would bench Mahrez.
You think Marsh
Yeah,
can get more
because
returns?
that's a good question actually. Just the fixtures, right? Bournemouth are weaker defensively than Spurs, although Spurs are leaking goals. Mahrez it's a big might be minus risky. Don't know what happens with Pep. Even
Yeah.
if he starts, bad game, 60th minute, he's off. But he can score a hat trick in the same time, so it's a risky move. But I wouldn't take out Odegaard versus this Everton team, despite Lampard's departure. March is Bournemouth at home. Yeah, I wouldn't really. He's basically the Mahrez for Brighton, right? So it's the same play
Yeah.
style, kind of.
Yeah. The
So
only thing
I
that's
don't see anybody there.
the only thing that's stopping me from taking out like City, Spurs, something like that, is their last two games have been pretty high scoring affairs. I think they've scored 5 goals each game. There's probably more goals there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, but like a gun to my head, I would take out Mahrez. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. We'll think about it. We'll think about it. I'll leave March on the
Yeah.
bench and he'll get, a double hat trick. And final thing that I wanted to mention, just so everybody visualizes my team and can get an idea of where I'm looking to go with transfers over the next X amount of periods. Walker, Shaw, maybe Bruno, possibly Tony, Patterson, Henderson, and March over the next, I don't know, let's say to game week 29. All guys that I could easily see myself transferring.
Yeah, I think the blanks and the double game weeks will kind of dictate everybody's transfers for the next, well, until the end of the season. So yeah, I see a lot of people getting rid of Manchester United assets when it comes to the blanks. Man City assets after the double game week, possibly. Arsenal assets, probably they will stay until like game week 29 minimum. So yeah, I think a lot of it will be dictated by the double game weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Doc. That's it. Case closed. Here we are. The end of the show. Right? So we went over basically triple captaincy a little bit, which, I mean, it feels pretty clear this week. We went over navigating the fixtures, ones to watch, yours and mine as far as teams. Now we're at the end of this beautiful little road we like to call Game Week 22 preview. Anything you'd like to say to the people?
Well, you should do some voiceovers because that sounded poetic. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Hopefully, I'll be back on Twitter this weekend. If I'm not, well, follow Joe. I'm sure he will let you know that I've just made my new Twitter so you can follow it again. But we'll see everybody on the next episode.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, everybody. Doc said it all. Let's get these points, baby.